I come from a news background. I'm 50 years old and I did local news reporting for decades. And so I got my stuff from Associated Press and Reuters and all the bigs, and then we kind of retooled it down for local, and then I read it off a prompter. When I took this show over, or started this show rather, 4.5 years ago, and they said, well, it's an opinionated political talk show. It's not news anymore. And I said, oh, but it is news. I wanted it to be kind of a blend. We're giving you the facts. And then, yes, Dan's going to give his opinion and rant because I'm a conservative patriot who's pissed off about all the other people lying about the facts and misconstruing them. Like you just said, they're either going to omit it or they're going to tweak it or they're going to angle it so it fits the narrative they want, which 98% of the time is to which side? The left side of the political aisle. How about that clip I showed right at the beginning before I brought you on, Anthony? I found fascinating that they're doing a year in review, which I'm going to do here in a minute, some of the big stories with your pal Joe Bob from Turning Point. But the CBS people on Face the Nation, that gal says one of the biggest underreported stories was Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Well, whose fault is that? Because you and I were definitely talking about it for over 4 years. So why is the mainstream media going, well, I think the most you're the ones that did it. You didn't report it, you liars.
Well, the only reason that they haven't reported it goes back to why they put Joe Biden in the office in the first place. They did everything to get him there because he was cognitively out of it. He wasn't even declining. The man, his nerves were shot. And if this was anybody else's grandfather, that would have been considered elder abuse with what they put that man through. And it's just like, at this point, you don't even feel upset. You feel sorry for him. You feel sorry for a man like that was so abused and so manipulated by everybody else that he allowed himself to become a puppet for everybody else. Because the only reason that anyone showed him on a debate stage and the only reason that Kamala had to come out and actually start debating and actually trying to run a campaign was because when the Supreme Court in July of this past year said that if you are not a citizen and if you are not registered to vote and if you are not a citizen or permanent resident of the country of the United States, it is illegal for you to vote in elections. And so when that thing got shut down, that's when everyone had to debate. That's when everyone had to come up with policies and plans. And so all of these things now, they were banking on all of the illegals that they were flooding in. And I will still say illegals that they were flooding into our cities, pushing Americans out and hoping that just by having the numbers raised that they would keep themselves in a position of power until the tables flipped. And when they actually had to come out and give a plan, they had no direction. They had no plan, no blueprint, no infrastructure. And only these things that they were allowed to run on were just like, well, we're doing it here and there. And even in debates with Trump and everything else.